Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the old Revolved Realty Studio. Tim here. Been a while since I've done a video. I've been super duper busy, which super duper is like one notch above super, I suppose. Anyway, welcome back. Hey, on the video today, I want to talk about something that is a common part of most real estate transactions, but something that has become somewhat controversial in our market here in North Alabama, and that is the appraisal. Now, if you are buying a home using a mortgage, if you are refinancing a home, or even if you're selling a home to anyone other than a cash buyer, an appraisal is going to be part of that process. It's something that is generally done. It's ordered by the lender. The appraisal is done actually to protect the lender. They will tell you that an appraisal is done to get the fair market value of the home. And that may be so. But at the end of the day, it is to protect that lender, because if something happens, God forbid, and you default on your mortgage, the lender is going to step in, foreclose on that home, and put it back on the market and try to recoup their money in that home. And that's why they want to do an appraisal, because the appraisal helps ensure the lender that they are not loaning more money on the house than the house is actually worth. Now, here's the controversy. In our market here in North Alabama, you hear me preach about this all the time. We're at a 20-year low in inventory. People are fighting over homes. We have thousands of people relocating here from bigger cities where they might have sold a 1,200 square foot home for $1 million, and they're coming to good old Huntsville and Madison with buckets and buckets of money. And as such, it has become a super competitive market. And a lot of homes are being sold above appraised value, and therefore the appraisal really doesn't mean anything, okay? The appraisal is simply a way the lender determines whether or not loaning you the money for the mortgage is a good investment for them, okay? At the end of the day, a seller does not have to sell their home for whatever the bank says it's worth. It's become subjective because the appraisal doesn't necessarily look at things like scarcity, low inventory, trends in the marketplace. It doesn't take those sort of things into consideration. Basically, an appraisal looks at, home sales, and they have to be similar home sales, size, condition, location, that sort of thing. They will look at home sales in the area within the last 12 months or so, and that's how they determine the appraised value of the home. Now, here's where I have a problem, because according to the Appraisal Institute, an association of professional real estate appraisers, a qualified appraiser should be licensed or certified, that's fine, but they should also be familiar with the local area. We are seeing appraisers being shipped in from Birmingham, from Montgomery, from Nashville, who are not familiar with this area, and therefore their appraisals, I think, can fairly come into question, especially when we realtors have appraisers calling us, asking us to provide them with comps. And if you're an appraiser, I know you're going to argue with me on this, but I don't really see how you can. If you're an appraiser, you should have the ability to pull comps as much as I do. I shouldn't have to provide you with comps. I sure as hell shouldn't have to justify the price of a house by supplying you with comps. So that's one of the rubs that I have. Appraisers coming from out of town into our areas attempting to appraise homes without really knowing this area. And the thing is, our area is really unique. Our market here is so hot because of all the people moving in, because of all the people coming here with cash, especially in Madison City. We are seeing, when a house goes on the market, we'll see multiple offers in one day. We will see offers going $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 above asking price. And we will see offers with the appraisal contingency completely removed. Now, what that means is the lender is still going to do an appraiser, but the buyer doesn't really care because they are prepared to bring more money to the table to complete the purchase. And I did a Ride and Rant video recently about how if you are not a buyer who can buy quickly over asking price without an appraisal contingency, you are at a great disadvantage in our market. And so the home appraisal, while it is still a valuable tool for the lender and one that they require, by the way, we are seeing the appraisal itself become less and less a factor in who is able to buy a house. Does that make sense? They're still doing the appraisals. And again, the appraisal simply is done to give the lender what the appraiser says is the market value of the house, because the lender does not want to loan more than that house is worth. I'm going to look at my notes here to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. So what if you are a buyer and you make an offer on a house and the house is appraised for less than ask? Let's say the asking price is $200,000. The appraisal comes in at $180,000. If you're a buyer, what are your options? Well, you can go back to that seller and you can say, Mr. and Ms. Seller, the house only appraised at $180,000. That's all the bank is willing to loan me. So can we negotiate on this price? At that point, the seller has a couple of options. Number one, he can drop the price to the appraised value, which will let you, the buyer, go ahead, get your loan, complete the process. He can say, tough tutu, I am not dropping the price of the house, regardless of what your appraisal says. If you want this house, you're going to have to bring $20,000 cash to the table, the difference between the $200 asking price and the $180 appraisal. And in this market, the seller probably will stand firm and will probably get what he wants. Now, traditionally, whenever a home has come in under appraisal, it puts the seller at a disadvantage because that appraisal is going to be public record. So just because the seller says, well, I'm not going to sell it to you, well, the next buyer is going to look at, lender is going to look that up, see that appraisal, and that seller is right back where they started from. But if you are a seller in this market and you are confident that you can sell your house above the appraised value, chances are you're going to stand firm and do so. And again, we're seeing it every day. I have offers come across my desk every day that are above asking price, some of them well above. I had one the other day that was $35,000 above asking price with no appraisal contingency. And the reason was the buyer wanted that house. The buyer had lots of cash and the buyer was ready to up the ante, pay that cash, and get that. So there you go. If you are a home seller, you do not have to sell your home for what the lender says it appraises. Just keep in mind that that appraisal is always going to be there. It's going to limit the amount of people who may be interested in buying your house or are able to buy the house. And if you are a buyer, we keep talking about this on every video, ad nauseum, ad infinitum, which is Latin for on and on. It is very much a market where if you are not able to come in at or above asking price with an appraisal contingency waived, chances that you will get the home of your dreams are somewhat diminished. Not terribly, but somewhat. There are still those sellers who want to sell the house and are willing to lower the price, but it depends on where the house is, what market it is, and how many people are fighting over that house. If I've got a listing client and we've got 5 offers, we're going to go back to those folks and say, hey, we will take your offer, but you have to remove the appraisal contingency and pay what we are asking. And 9 times out of 10, they do. So there you go. The home appraisal, it is designed to help the lender and not necessarily you, the buyer, or especially the seller. Hey, speaking of lenders who do appraisals, one of the sponsors of the video is Stephen Allen with Caliber Home Loans. Now, here's the cool thing about Stephen. If you go to Caliber Home Loans, tell him you heard about him here on the program, he'll do your appraisal absolutely free. That's about a $450 value. So give them a call. They are great. Stephen and his team will find you the best loan, the best rate, get it done quickly for you. And again, mention that you heard about it here, and Stephen will waive that appraisal fee. Our other sponsor is Jacob Title. Stan McDonald and his team at Jacob Title. They are the hometown closers. We do a lot of business with Jacob. They're always very professional, very fast, and they make sure that the closing process is done painlessly and in good time. And if you mention to Stan that you heard about him here on the video, Stan will knock $100 off your closing costs. So there you go, guys. Appraisers and appraisals are a part of the transaction unless you are paying cash. And if that's the case, you're not too worried about the appraisal. You just want the house and you're willing to pony up. So, hey, if I can do anything for you when it comes to real estate, don't forget 256-679-0704 or Tim at Revolved. You can find us all over the web at revolved.com or on Facebook and social media. All right, if I can do anything for you, give me a call. Talk to you soon. Bye.